Please welcome President and CEO of Special Olympics Massachusetts, Mary Beth McMahon.
Okay, so I have a new rule. Never follow an athlete, Tim Shriver, or Ronan Tynan. And I'm doing that about 10 times tonight, so I apologize right now. First of all, thank you for being here on behalf of the Board of Directors of Special Olympics Massachusetts to celebrate this amazing evening of the 50th anniversary of the Special Olympics movement. We are here to celebrate our past and those of you that have been in the room with us who have given us amazing hours and time to get us to this point. And we honor our present with our athletes and volunteers that are here who have given us countless hours and will continue to give us countless hours. And more importantly, we move into the next 50 years on a message of inclusion and acceptance. We couldn't do it without many of you in this room, and for that, I thank you very much. In 2003, the World Summer Games were held in Dublin, Ireland. They were an amazing event for the Special Olympics movement, and truly the new gold standard of World Games. And our closing ceremonies performer that night was Ronan Tynan, singing the songs "May We Never Say Goodbye." And it is an extreme pleasure for me tonight to welcome Ronan back. As I said, though, those games made a gold standard to what every other game should follow. And in March of 2019, it's a pleasure for me to announce, if you haven't heard already, that the Middle East will host the World Games for the first time. They will host them in Abu Dhabi, and we, Special Olympics Massachusetts, will have a basketball team from Shrewsbury, Mass, representing the United States there. My, how far we've come. In 1968, we may have had our first official games, but the reality is Special Olympics was founded, in my opinion, and in Tim's, on the shores of Cape Cod, while his mom, Mrs. Eunice Kennedy Shriver, competed and played sports with her brothers and sisters, as we all know Mrs. Shriver, in a very competitive manner, and most importantly, with her sister Rosemary. In my opinion, they were really our first unified pair. We've come an extreme long way since that day, when we can say we were born on the shores of Cape Cod with an idea, but we actually have a team from Shrewsbury representing us in Abu Dhabi. I have been involved with this movement for 35 of the 50 years. I've seen our athletes in an environment of isolation and segregation, today in an environment of inclusion and acceptance, and believe me, that is all because of Special Olympics. We use the field and courts of sports to make sure people see the abilities of our athletes so that they can see the abilities of our athletes off the field. And before I go any further, I would like to make some special acknowledgments for the guests in the room. First of all, it's my honor to welcome Governor and First Lady Charlie and Lauren Baker. Dr. Timothy Shriver, the Chairman of Special Olympics International. From the City of Boston, Commissioner of the Persons with Disabilities Office, Kristen McCosh. Dr. Steve Perlman is somewhere in this room. And it's a great pleasure that I welcome here. He is the founder of Special Smiles and Healthy Athletes, which has become a global movement for the athletes and our health of our athletes. There's an amazing amount of people in here from the Champions of 50, which you'll hear a lot more about. But if it wasn't those Champions for 50, who you've seen on the screen and you'll hear more about later on in the program, we would not be here we were today. And I want to shout out just a couple of great examples. We used the 50th anniversary at Special Olympics to do a pivot to become a larger and bigger organization to serve more and make sure there's no athlete not on the sideline anymore. In order to do that, we needed to talk to people who are willing to make multi-year commitments to us and really move to a different standard. And we've had many examples of that. One of the first adopters of the 50th anniversary initiative was REilly Insurance. I know they're in the room. They're standing in the back. Plenty of seats up front, guys. REilly used athlete Jeremy Smith in their marketing campaign in the second quarter. He was the voice and face of their Spread the Good campaign, and he really drove the message home about Special Olympics and inclusion every day. To John Hancock, who was one of the first, again, adopters, who really developed and helped us develop the Extra Mile platform for the Boston Marathon. And not only did they give us a great ability to raise money through an asset of the Boston Marathon, but they allowed our athletes to finish the Boston Marathon. We have one of those athletes here, Matt Millett. So thank you, John Hancock, for giving us that opportunity. And finally, Bank of America, who turned the lens to the Zemansky brothers, who showed what it really meant to be unified at home, on the playing field, and always. Zemansky brothers represented us in Seattle in this past July. And they are unified athletes and partners. And what is great about that is that story, thanks to Bank of America, was picked up locally, statewide, and was featured on ESPN. And how fitting in our 50th year that the home of unified sports, Massachusetts, was given national recognition on that front. So congratulations, Bank of America, and the Zemansky brothers who are actually here tonight. I had the honor and privilege of knowing Mrs. Shriver. She is definitely and will always be the most hardest person I've ever worked for. She does not take the word no for an answer, and she sets high expectations that she expects you to exceed. She said, "You have earned the right to play on any playing field." My dream as CEO is that we would be considered the 6th sports organization in town, because this town, Boston, and the state of Massachusetts, we are relevant when we are sports. We're kind of crazy about it, I all know. And tonight, it is with great pleasure that we can say we have the New England Revolution, the New England Patriots, the Boston Red Sox, the Boston Celtics, and 1 month ago signed an unprecedented partnership with the Boston Bruins. Led by athlete John Dunleavy. Under the incredible marketing slogan, "Be Inclusive," we are going to, with the Boston Bruins and the rest of our Boston sports teams' relationships, finally, hopefully, change people's perceptions that we are not a one-day track meet for children with Down syndrome, but we are every day in every community, and we are a need to have and not a nice to have.